things happen. You just have to adjust and adapt to the situation, and it's business as usual. We're here, for our final session, put in some work and prepare for Saturday night and Martin Piccoli.
To do this on 2 days' notice, a top 5 heavyweight like that, with a final eliminator around the corner, for our entertainment to add to the greatest card, I believe, of all time, he deserves absolutely every credit.
He's only 60% fit, that's what Billy Nelson's saying, but he's ready to rumble Saturday night.
After the shocking and out-of-the-blue cancellation of Dubois versus Parker, the boxing industry is buzzing with controversy while trying to discern what led to this decision. The news that was broken by none other than Frank Warren during the official press conference quickly garnered a lot of skepticism as people viewed it as a blatant attempt at ducking the challenge. To make matters even worse, the reasons that Frank was sharing were questionable, to say the least, because even though the promoter highlighted sickness as the major reason for this last-minute withdrawal, no further clarification was provided on its intensity or nature.
Excuse me. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, Daniel's been evaluated by a doctor, and when we have more news, we will share it with you and update you.
When you say he's ill, is it like a flu he's got? Or...
That's all I can tell you.
Further sharing his sentiments on this last-minute decision, Frank stated that even though he understands the outpouring of disappointment and backlash from the fans following this news, there is only much that he or any official body can do, because when a fighter is declared unfit by the Health Commission, no further step can be taken by anyone. Now, even though Frank appears to be in support of his fighter and admits that this decision might cause sheer disappointment to all parties involved, many people have pointed out that the promoter appeared quite solemn during his last couple of appearances, which bordered towards frustration, indicating that he might not be as agreeable about this decision as he pretends to be.
Very late this afternoon.
Okay, so it's been a stressful day.
To say the least. For the fighters as well. It's a shame for the fighters, for everybody involved. TV companies, and more importantly for the fans. Riyadh season, His Excellency, everybody involved with this. We're all gutted, but what can you do? That's the world we live in. He's obviously disappointed. Everybody's disappointed. It's like the biggest nights of their lives, these guys.
Talking about the fighters involved, Joseph Parker appears to be nonchalant regarding this change of heart from Dubois' side, stating that even though there is always an earlier wave of disappointment following these announcements, there is nothing that you can do at the end of the day. Hoping that his ex-opponent gets back on foot, Parker emphasized that he will not allow this to affect him, especially after the months of continuous hard work that he has done in his fight, and that he will still be participating in the highly awaited Riyadh event with now Martin Piccoli as his adversary.
If he is ill, hope he gets better soon, and I'm looking forward to Saturday and putting on a great show. Things happen in life. It's not just boxing, in life. You got to adapt, you got to adjust, and you got to go forward no matter what. So we want to go forward, and hopefully he recovers and gets better soon.
Meanwhile, not letting this movement slide away, Eddie Hearn jumped at this opportunity to throw shade at Dubois and Frank while questioning the authenticity of their claims. According to Eddie, even though things like these happen in boxing and there are last-minute withdrawals, just like what happened with the Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd Schofield fight, the circumstances of Dubois' decision appear to be a little suspicious, given that the fighter was in excellent condition just a few hours ago. Choosing to sarcastically criticize this decision, Eddie then went on to poke fun at Daniel, stating that it might just be a chill that brought him down.
What it is that's illing Dubois or illing him.
What's illing him? Is that a thing?
He's ill, and then he's illing.
Yes,
he's been ill.
I know when you're ill, but I didn't know that when you're ill, you're illing. I don't know the reason for his illing,
yes,
but clearly it's a reason to keep him out of the fight. So, I think it's a bit chilly out here. It's been catching people out. I'll be honest, even last night, I got back to the hotel, felt a little bit of a chill. Luckily, I'm not in the World Heavyweight Championship.
However, choosing to not divulge any further in this situation, given that neither of the fighters is represented by his promotional company, Eddie shared a different narrative on this situation, commenting that even though there will always be an air of skepticism following this decision, one thing that you have to admit is that for a heavyweight champion who recently has garnered fame and prestige after winning against a prominent name like Anthony Joshua, you will be hesitant in entering in the ring against one of the best fighters in the division, given that you are not in your prime physical condition.
Yeah, I don't know. But the problem is, if you've just won the World Heavyweight Championship from AJ and you're under the weather, or you've got the flu, or even a really bad cold, do you want to risk it all against Joseph Parker and throw it all away? It's a very tough decision, but sometimes the fighter has to protect himself,
On the other hand, focusing on the next fight that is now scheduled to take place in replacement of Daniel versus Parker, which is the equally challenging and exciting bout between Joseph Parker and Martin Bacol, Eddie made a shocking proclamation that this fight might even be a better watch for fans than the Dubois fight based on the explosive power and compatibility that both these heavyweights have. Another important factor that the promoter highlighted was that the fans should be looking at the bright side of things. If this had been any other weight division, the fight would have been canceled from the get-go, but due to it being in the heavyweight division, the fight is allowed to go on the duo to the very specific ruling on the weight that is something only reserved for the heavyweight fighters.
If this wasn't the heavyweights, the fight's automatically off. The board would not allow it, but with no check weight and the heavyweights, you can come in on the weigh-in day. And Martin Bacoli is on a plane, I believe, from the Congo today. I can't, yeah, it's just an incredible fight. May even be a better fight than the Dubois fight.
Further adding to his take on this upcoming fight, Eddie seems to champion Parker once again based on his overall boxing prowess and the continuous hardwood and tenacity that he has displayed in the last couple of months for the preparation of this bout. Looking at the other side, he added that even though Bacoli is a force to be reckoned with, especially after everything that he has faced in the last couple of months and the excellent performance that he has displayed, there is still a possibility that he might not be in the most optimal condition given the extremely short notice he was handed.
Pull for Parker unless he's in against one of our guys. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough fight. I think, to be honest, like, one of Bacoli's weaknesses is his fitness and coming in at short notice. You know, but he's dangerous, and it's going to be a hell of a fight.
Expressing the same emotions as Eddie, His Excellency Turki Alalshik also seems to believe that this new fight will be an even better watch for the fans given the sheer power possessed by both fighters. Now, although there have been certain hiccups along the way for this fight card, including fighters pulling out at the last minute and many experts openly criticizing the management of the event, Turki is focused on the road ahead and has even labeled this new fight as an improvement for the already magnificent Riyadh season card. Sharing his views with the Ring magazine, Turki stated, "The card of the century just got better." Moving on, with only a day left in the most historic event in boxing history, many prominent analysts and boxing personalities have shared their views on this new fight along with predictions. Ben Shalom, who promotes Martin Bacoli, revealed some behind-the-door dealings that went on to make this fight a possibility. According to the young promoter, although he was quite confused regarding the whole scenario at the start, he quickly jumped forward to present a case for his fighter in front of the officials, including His Excellency, which surprisingly ended up materializing in a very short period of time.
I wasn't sure whether it was one of these, you know, fake news type, let's build the fight type thing, because we've seen that with the Canelo stuff, and I was thinking, what's going on? So I said to the team, would we take it? And they said yes.
Wow.
Go on, let's put it forward. So I got onto His Excellency. I said, we want the fight. And then we just got into it. Meanwhile, I'm up on the stage. The deal was done whilst I was in my chair over there. It was incredible, and fair play to His Excellency, because I didn't think we were going to get it, if I'm honest, and it's an unbelievable, to take it on 2 days notice, it's unbelievable.
Addressing the claims that they might have been a little too quick in accepting this fight, considering the extremely limited time period that they have, Ben emphasized that even though he understands where these comments are originating from, as a promoter, it is his duty to orchestrate the fights that his fighter wants, no matter how absurd or orthodox they might seem to the general public. He added that regardless of the short period of time, Martin has been training extensively for the last couple of months in hopes of getting a big opportunity like this, and now that he has gotten this chance, he is not going to let this slide away for anything in the world.
I've always said if the fighter wants to do something, we're going to support them.
Okay.
And for me, it was all about, is Martin's mind right? Does he want the fight? When he's giving you no hesitation, it's 100%. He's sat up in the Congo thinking, this is it, this is it. And so there's no chance I'm standing in the way of that. And if he's ready, he's ready. And he's coming to win on Saturday night and shock the world.
Sharing his views on how the fight will ultimately go on, Ben emphasized that from the very beginning of the dealing process, he was adamant on the fact that if there is any fighter who can stand toe-to-toe with a brutal beast like Joseph Parker, then that fighter is none other than Martin Bacol. Ben also added that after this fight, if Martin manages to come out as the victor, then everyone must acknowledge him as one of the best fighters in the world in the heavyweight division, because to come at this stage in the last minute and to outclass one of the most brutal fighters in this generation,
Everyone's putting the names forward. We felt like the only 50-50, you know, this card is about a historic card. This is about a 50-50 card. And for me, that was the only fight to make if you're trying to do this. But for me, everyone deserves a lot of credit. Everyone's taking a lot of risk. But I hope Martin Bakole gets the appreciation of every boxing fan. To do this on 2 days' notice, a top 5 heavyweight like that, with a final eliminator around the corner for our entertainment, to add to the greatest card, I believe, of all time, he deserves absolutely every credit.
Another personality who seems to be rather enthusiastic regarding this last-minute change is Teddy Atlas, who recently shared his views during an interview stating that even though many people might label this development as a disappointment or downgrade, in reality, this new fight between Joseph and Martin is a very fortunate surprise, as it is not every day that you get to see two of the most vicious fighters in the division go at one another in hope of cementing their names as the elites of the division.
Dangerous guy. You talk about, you would be disappointed. The air would be out of the balloon when you had such a great fight with Parker and Dubois that all of a sudden now it's going to be a downer. Guess what? It's an up again. It's up again because of who the replacement is. A guy that is just as dangerous, or at least in that neighborhood, but I'm going to say just as dangerous as Parker.
Being a part of this industry for a very long time and observing all sorts of last-minute changes throughout the course of his career, Teddy revealed that usually the fights that are later scheduled fail to leave a mark on the audiences, but this time around that might not be the case because Martin is an excellent fighter who, despite the short notice, appears to be in good shape as well, which is wonderful given the stage that he will be performing on. Talking about the passion that Martin possesses, Teddy explained that after a fighter has gone through multiple disappointments and disregard from his community, he will make sure that he gives the absolute best performance of his career to show the world that he is not someone who can be undermined this easily.
Where you get deflated, and you were ready to, just, all of a sudden you're, it's there, because usually that doesn't happen. On most cards, the replacement would be a lot safer level. And not here. It's something you might make an argument in some cases that the guy's hungrier, and we know how he can punch. We know what he did, to Anderson.
Along with praising Martin and this new matchup, Teddy also commended Parker for his resilience and sportsmanship, because even though he had to change his strategies and somewhat uproot his entire game plan given the sudden change in opponent, he did not back down and did not yield in the face of this adversary. Instead, he welcomed the challenge with open arms and even demanded that he should be paired up with equally ferocious opponent who can allow him to reach his full potential and can aid him in cementing his name in the heavyweight division as not only one of the most ruthless fighters of this era, but also as someone who never shied away from a challenge, no matter how difficult it might appear to be.
That's to Mr. Parker that he asked for it. That tells you all you need to know about Joseph Parker, what he believes, who he is, and what he wants to do. He wants to fight the best guy available. He was ready to fight the best guy available, the world champion. So give me the next best guy. Well, this guy, you sure? I mean, you want it? Yeah, I want him. He asked for him. That's all you need to know.
Now, even though there is no doubt that Parker is a very strong opponent who has proven his resilience by not backing away from this tremendous challenge ahead of him, many people in the industry, including the fans, are questioning whether he has what it takes to beat down a beast like Martin in such short notice, especially considering that throughout his camo, he has been preparing for a completely different fighter altogether. Sharing his thoughts on these questions raised by the community members, Teddy emphasized that considering the situation, this might be an issue for many fighters, but for an experienced and highly skilled professional like Parker, this might not prove to be a hindrance, because throughout his career, Parker has faced all sorts of opponents, and looking at his usual training cameos, the fighter does not opt for any exclusive style, but rather prepares for all sort of conditions that he might face inside the ring, a fact that will greatly aid him in this fight.
We forget sometimes the guy that had full-time preparation had a 2-month camp or maybe more. He was prepared for one specific, what you just said, one specific style. In some ways, it's an advantage to the other guy if he's in shape, because he wasn't prepared for no style. So he's not locked into one style. He's been locked into one style preparation. Yeah, they got to adjust. Yeah, but a guy with the experience of Parker, That's the good news. And with the experience of his trainer, a former world champion and Olympian, and Andy Lee, that's the good news. They will be able to handle that adjustment better than a lot of people would.
Along with this, while acknowledging the hard work that goes on behind the scenes, which is usually hidden from the public eye, Teddy explained that for the officials to orchestrate a bout of this caliber in just a few hours is an astonishing thing and something that could have never been possible a few years ago, which goes on to show the impact that Riyadh's season, as well as his excellency, has on the sport in general, where he is not only successful in arranging the biggest fights ever between the elite fighters, but he has also been able to bring the promoters and organizers together under one umbrella where they can socialize openly and can complete the previously tedious negotiation process within a few phone calls.
For that fight to be the replacement, that's all you need to know about, really. The commitment that, you know, Turkey Al-Sheikh has to the sport, that the people like Spencer and Hearn and Frank Warren, that they're willing to put in a replacement like that.
Adam Smith, who is another renowned veteran of this exciting combat sport, also appeared flabbergasted at the speed and efficiency with which this matter was dealt with, and how a huge last-minute disaster was stopped by the collaboration of some of the biggest names in the industry. While talking about this fast pace, another important aspect that Adam talked about was how not only was the deal made in less than an hour, according to what the sources have reported, but the choice of opponent also seems to be world-class and compatible with Parker.
And we were saying we want that fight, Martin Bakole, and His Excellency makes the fight in minutes. It's astonishing. There was names like David Adelaide, Lawrence Okoli being banded around, but it is Bakole, and I think Bakole is a massive replacement and a fantastic one at 48 hours notice.
Sharing his thoughts on the impact that it might have for either fighter, Adam explained that even though some people might be frustrated that they are not going to see their fighter enter the ring, no one can deny that this fight is as great as the previous one, and this fight also seems to have a more meaningful impact on the fighter's career as well, because even though Martin is an excellent fighter, he has not been getting as much recognition as he deserves. So to get a chance like this bout of the blue is something that no fighter in their right mind will ever let go, and even though Bakole is not in as much of an optimal condition as his opponent, he will employ everything in his arsenal to give the best performance of his career at the biggest stage in the world right now.
Daniel Dubois ill, our hearts go out to him. Joe Parker, what's he going to do? Who's he going to fight? Martin Bakole impressed His Excellency in America, what he did to Jared Anderson. And guess what? I think Turkey thought, I've got to have a big name, so this card remains the best card ever. I want Martin Bakole, and Martin Bakole got it. He's only 60% fit, that's what Billy Nelson's saying, but he's ready to rumble Saturday night.
So in the end, what are your thoughts on this surprising new development ahead, the biggest card in the history of the sport? Do you agree with the choice of Bakole replacing Dubois, or are you disappointed at this change and Dubois' withdrawal? Make sure to tell us about your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to our channel.